Hello everyone, we're going to create an easy web worker example. Here we have a new Bit project, and the only thing that we have done so far was installing Tailwind into this project. The next thing that we have to do, of course, is going and adding our easy web worker library. Once the package is installed into our application, we're able to import the easy web worker constructor. After this, the process is so simple. We're able to create a new instance of a web worker, and this function is going to work as a template for our web worker. So actually this function is going to be executed from inside the web worker, which means that we don't have access to the scope that is around here. We just have access to whatever the easy web worker is going to provide to us. So here we're going to receive an easy worker object. This object is going to have the interface that is going to allow us to implement the promises pattern on top of our web worker, and also a couple of extra things. For example, if you want to receive just a simple message, this will be enough. You're going to receive a message. Every message is going to have a payload, and that payload is going to be the information passed from the main thread to the worker, right? Also, each message is going to have some extra methods that are going to allow us to communicate back with the main thread. For example, from inside the worker, we're able to cancel the promise that is pending on the main thread. We're also able to reject the promise, and we're also able to resolve the promise. Reject and cancel, they are similar, but for example, the difference is that you're able to cancel on purpose something, and it doesn't necessarily have to return an error, right? Also, you're able to see here, we're able to report progress. And this report progress, what it's going to do is that from the main thread, we're able to subscribe a callback that is going to listen to each time that we call this method from inside the web worker. So we're able to report progress. So for example, we came here and we created a simple for loop that is going to run 100 times. We're able to report that progress to the main thread. Okay. And once we execute everything, we're able to come and set a message and resolve like a promise, right? Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do, since we're working with React, is we're going to do a couple of modifications here. So we're going to have a worker ref, and this one is going to be equal to use ref from React. The initial value is going to be null, and then we're going to have a use effect. This use effect is not going to have any dependencies, so it's just when the component mount and unmount, right? And what's going to happen here is that we're going to be cleaning this worker. I mean, all the resources that this worker is consuming, right? Here we're going to tell our ref that is an easy web worker, so we're going to have the auto completion. Here we will do dispose our worker, right? And what is going to happen here is that instead of creating the worker outside the React component, we're going to create the worker inside, and we're going to store that value in the reference. Once arrived here, if we go and execute yarn dev in the terminal, we're able to see our project up and running. And if we inspect the sources of the project, we're going to see that there is already a web worker running. Of course, there is nothing interesting happening yet, but the worker is already in place, and we're able to go and see the content of the same, right? So here we have some code that it comes from the library. That is the code that actually builds all these interface, all these promises pattern that we have available in the worker. And finally, this is the dynamic content that we created for a worker, right? So this is the content that we have here. Okay, so now let's see how to execute the code that is inside the worker from outside, from the main thread. We're going to make a cool example here. Okay, so let's build a simple progress bar. For that, we're going to need a news state, and we're going to create a new progress state. Is going to start on 0, and then we're going to create here a simple progress bar. So we have progress, and we have a value that is going to be the progress value that we have here. So that's it. If we go to the place, we are able to see the the progress bar. There we go. And we're also going to create a simple button that's going to be called run, and it's going to have a method that is going to call send a message to our worker, right? So we just need the worker ref current and send, right? So this is going to send a message to the worker. I forgot here to add the cancelable promises packages. So this one is going to enable all the methods from the cancelable promises, like for example on progress. And on progress we're able to add a callback which is going to be executed every time that from inside the worker we're going to receive the new progress value, right? So we're going to just came here and said now set progress, and we're going to assign the value that is coming from the worker. And at the end of all this we're also able to just came here and said that then console.log finalize it, and that's it. So now we have a button. Let's just add a super simple new line here, sorry. Finally, if we go and review our application, we're going to see the progress bar here, and if we click on run, the progress bar is going to be 100% complete, and we have here the finalize it. It wasn't so visible, so let's fix that. So here again, and now the example looks a little bit better. So if we came here and we run this, it's running from inside the web worker, and we are also able to stop, and the web worker is going to keep the variable that is holding the current value. So then we're able to start again. So let's see how that looks on the terminal. So we came here again, so if we restart our application and we go to sources, so here we're able to see the code of our web worker. So as we saw before, this is the code that the web worker needs in order to be able to execute. It's very small, and this one is the actual template of our web worker, the one that we created here, right? So if we were using a bundle or some kind of obfuscation or something on the code, that one also will be represented here. Finally, you're able to see we modify a little bit the start button, right? Now we have also a running variable, we have the running state, and we're sending a message to the web worker. So once we start running this, we're going to have hello worker. This is a message that we are printing from inside the worker, but which arrived through the payload that we send in the main thread, right? We're also able to toggle this flag from here, so this is going to send another message to the worker. So we are able to build some kind of API inside the web worker, right? So we have different actions like stop, toggle logs, and start, right? So if we remove the breakpoints, the application is going to keep running. So that will be. Hope this video tutorial is going to be useful. If you have any doubts, please reach out to the documentation of the package. Happy coding.